grow colder from the mercy of who's looking down upon the silent graves of those who pray when sin I grow cold.
We're going to the phones right now. Vixen Neil, lead vocalist for the all-female fronted Motley Crue tribute band Girls, Girls, Girls is on the line. You there, Vixen?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
I sure can. You sound really sexy.
And you do, too.
Oh, thank you. I wish you could see me right now.
Yeah, I wish you could see me, too. I'm not feeling too sexy, let me tell you. I want to welcome you to a special edition of the G-Spot. Thanks for stopping by. How are things?
Oh, things are wonderful, especially when we're hitting the G-Spot.
Girls, Girls, Girls is the only female-fronted Motley Crue tribute band. Can you tell us how the idea came about?
The founder of the band was Nikita Sace. She had the idea. She's the mother of it all, and so she's the huge crew head of the entire foundation, and she found the drummer first, and then they had a hard time finding the guitar player, so she placed the exact same ad that Nikki Sixx placed to find Mick Mars. Nikki Sixx put an ad in the paper for like loud, aggressive, rude, crude guitar player. Anyway, Nikita Sace put the same ad on Craigslist to find this guitar player. That's how we found our Mick Mars. And I was the final piece of the story, and they found me on MySpace, and they messaged me like, "We'd like you to audition for this band," and I said, "Thank you, but no thank you," and she wrote back like a hard sell. She was like, "We really think you should audition, and we challenge you to just listen to the song, Shout at the Devil, and just imagine your fist involuntarily rising to the sky, and imagine all the people in the crowd pumping their fists back at you, and like, all right, you're funny, I'll try out," and then that's that.
That's a pretty cool story. What is it like when the four of you get together and perform some of the greatest hits from Motley Crue?
What's it like?
I want to assume that the energy is very high level, but as far as the meshing part, how is it when you get together? Does it always come together so perfectly tight?
Most of the time, it comes together perfectly. Honestly, I'd say the band aside, it has a lot to do with the venue and the crowd itself. Usually, we reflect the energy of the crowd, and when the crowd's great, then we're great. The band in itself, we now have a new bass player. The former bass player and founder is our manager now. She's got a family and can't do it all. But the four of us are very different people, and that's kind of like what makes it so glorious, is that we're each so different and we each bring different things to the table. So before a show, we're each doing our own different rituals. I need silence. Some people want to interact with the crowd beforehand. There's like this, we all do different things, but then the moment we step on stage, it's like this own thing that like this child that formed that none of us could ever describe, I guess. But it is pretty amazing.
How easy or hard is it to perform some of these hits?
I gotta say, we work really hard. We really work hard to play the music well. It's easy because the music is great, really well written. We like to pick not just the greatest hits, but the songs that we enjoy the most. And usually our favorite songs are some of the ones that aren't the greatest hits, but what's hard about it, I guess, it's not hard. It's easy. It's all easy.
Other than Motley Crue, who are some of your other musical influences?
That's a tough one. I mean, personally, if you ask each band member, you're going to come up with 4 different answers. So personally, I like pretty much all music except country, because I hate hearing people complain. But I grew up in a big family. We were very musical. My dad's a jazz drummer. My mom sings. My dad had the most amazing collection of jazz records. So that's kind of where I come from. In fact, he used to put me to sleep by doing drum beats on my back. My head was the cymbal. But I guess because of that, I'm very beat and bass heavy. I love drums and bass and Currently, I really love AWOL Nation and Phantogram, which neither of those are very, heavy metal, but like I said, I love all music.
Well, you're a girl after my own heart because I grew up on country. My parents force-fed me country, and I cannot tolerate it by any means now.
We can't cancel out Johnny Cash, the old school, the real shit, where those are the original rock stars.
I love Johnny Cash. I could mention some Conway Twitty. Artists back then. A lot of it today is, to me, twangy. It has
yodeling.
Yeah.
Like, ooh. Why do you do that to yourself?
I know. Getting back to what you mentioned earlier, you said that all four of you, before you go on stage, have your own rituals. What would some be?
This is a funny question because recently we found a Motley Crue video of Motley Crue getting ready, and it was very similar. We were laughing because a couple of the girls will be drinking wine. We're backstage putting on makeup and listening to our set list and just getting pumped up. I get nervous about an hour before the show, but then once I'm back there and I'm in costume, I'm ready to go. But I don't like to be out in the crowd or talking to anybody. Mercedes Mars, our guitar player, she likes to be talking to people. That calms her. Out there talking to people, getting ready, smoking cigarettes, drinking wine. The drummer as well, glass of wine, getting pumped up, getting her stuff ready to go. Bass player is like a little kitten. She just likes to be pet.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I even like to be petted once in a while a little bit.
Who doesn't like to be petted?
I know. Out of all the eras of Motley Crue that the band covers, which one would you say is more appealing than the rest for you? Their early stuff or their...
Oh, music-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Everybody knows the answer to this. I think that it's usually true with most bands, isn't it? Like, their first stuff is the best. Usually, I think the best music comes from pain and people's personal battles with life. So usually you get the best stuff from the first stuff because it's raw, and it's even, even with technology and everything, it's better when it's more raw, when it's more analog. And so Too Fast for Love, obviously, I think as a band, as a whole, we probably have our most favorite songs off the first album, and then many songs of Shout at the Devil. And we do like to do the deep cut. We do all the number one hits, and then the best of what we think are the deep cut with. And usually that has a lot to do with the beats and the bass and the grit. And what works for us are also usually the most sexual songs.
I totally agree with you. I like the fact of the rawness. Too Fast for Love, and that didn't do it for me as much as Shout at the Devil. Now that I look back on it, I'm like, you know what? That probably is their best stuff because it was so raw and it was so
simple.
Yeah, it
was simple and repetitive.
Right. It wasn't overdone or overthought. It was just done the way they wanted to do it. Like you said, with today's technology, everything is manipulated, no matter what it is. Maybe if we could get back to, as you put it, the analog style, or even put a little bit of that in there. Their very early stuff is the best. Not because I grew up on it, only because if you hear it, you compare it to, say, Saints of Los Angeles.
That's an interesting point because when we play the music and we listen to all their songs, like what can we do live? A lot of their later material, we can't really pull it off live because there's so many tracks, like overdub tracks, so many, like there's like 3 or 4 different guitar parts going on all at once, which sounds cool on the record. You try and do it live and it just doesn't really work because they can't make it sound like it. We used to try to do the song Afraid, that one?
Yeah.
It's a great song, but live, you can't do it with a 4-piece band. It just doesn't sound right. And we did Saints of Los Angeles as well, and it was, we did a nice rendition of it, but it just doesn't sound as beefy without all those other tracks. So, I guess that's probably another reason why we sound best doing the older material.
I've caught a couple videos of yours, and you're spot on, really, with a lot of the earlier stuff. How do you feel about their announcement?
I'm kind of proud of them because I really think they know what they're doing. They are four very smart guys. I think, personally, I think it might have something to do with Mick's state of health. You know, he's in constant pain all the time, and so he's like one of the greatest guitar players that ever lived. And you never see him wince. He's so amazing, and he's so funny in interviews. He seems like such a cool and awesome guy, but I think it's really hard for him to tour. I think it's pretty cool. It's unheard of, unprecedented that they're even doing this. They signed legal contracts that they're never going to tour again.
I had a mixed reaction with that. It's like, you're signing these contracts and you're saying you're never going to perform as Motley Crue again. But if you guys ever get together, there's no other... You're Motley Crue, period. I love Motley Crue, don't get me wrong. But my perspective was, okay, you're retiring, you've signed contracts, but what if you guys just want to get back together and jam? You've basically signed a contract stating that you won't do that. So,
do you think these guys really want to jam?
Well, I mean...
Four millionaires want to get together and just play. I bet they've been through so much that they're not really inspired by each other anymore. I mean, Nikki's got 6 a.m. and other projects going. Vince has, he's an entrepreneur. He has several businesses in Las Vegas. Mick just seems like he just wants to chill out. Tommy, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother interview right there.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, Tommy, he's never gonna get old. Always gonna be 12 years old.
I guess, you know, and I'm in the radio area, and I guess I asked that question only because I know for myself that if I was put in a position or formed a band of that nature, and we've become so big that, you know, these are my brothers, and no matter what we've been through, they are my brothers for life. You mean to tell me that if one of them called and said, you know what, I miss you guys, can we just get together and have a little jam session?
I do agree with you. I also don't know what it's like to be a massive rock star and to have played like thousands and thousands of shows with the same band, and now, you know, it comes a point in your life where you just want to do something else, you know. I don't know if you can call it ADD or a short attention span, but I've had several careers in my life, and at some point, sometimes I love doing something, and then all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. It just seems like work. So I don't know if that's where they're coming from, or, you know, if it's for the love of music, but they have tons of brothers to jam with. And we all know about their roller coaster with their interpersonal relationships. They're also four very different people.
You brought up a couple good points with that. You're absolutely right. I don't know what it's like to be a mega superstar, you know, rock star myself. I'm in this industry and I see a lot of them, but I also see that they're very humble. You know, before I got into this, I can recall on many occasions where somebody in a band would be getting slammed for this, that, or the other thing, but you're not getting the whole story.
Right.
Mick, you can just tell, and I want to believe that they're doing this because of Mick's health. He does not look well. He looks very withdrawn. I mean, I haven't seen him personally. I've just seen pictures, but all the pictures I've seen tells me that his health isn't the best. And
have you ever had like a really horrible hangover? It hurts and you feel nauseous. You don't even want to get out of bed. From what I've heard, that's like how he feels constantly in really horrible pain for his whole life. And his demeanor is so sweet, and he's so cool, and he's funny. I love that guy.
Actually, I was not aware of how serious his medical issues are. I did not realize that he's been in pain for a very, very long time.
For pretty much their whole career.
You see, I never even knew that, to be honest with you. So I love them. I kind of choked up a little bit when I heard the news because these guys have been through so much, so much on so many different levels they fought. They just kept fighting and fighting to sign a contract. I just thought it was a little unusual to say that you'd never play as Motley Crue again. I'm sad by it, but, you know, hey, if these guys are going to go out and do their own thing, then I wish him all the best in the world, and I hope it works for him.
Me too. And another thing, I mean, there's so many bands that, like classic bands, that are just washed up and disbanded, and you forget about them. But Motley has really stayed on top. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Motley might be like the Michael Jackson of heavy metal. They keep producing albums, they keep touring, they sell out all the time. Their images are very well known, and nobody else is like them. Nobody else has had as many like top 40 hits. They're kind of like going out the clean way too. Who's done this? They're not desperate. That's kind of like they're going out so cool. They're just cool.
Where did you get your voice training from, and how hard is it to keep your voice in shape? And are there any special treatments you use?
Hot tea and Jack Daniels is my treatment. I've never been like professionally trained. One funny fact about me is that I grew up Mormon. My parents are Mormon, so I've been singing since I was 2. I'm sure they never ever imagined or would have wanted me to be in this band, but I was in an original band in Omaha. I'm from Iowa and Nebraska. I was in an original ska band in Omaha for probably 10 years before I moved to New York, and my range was actually much higher then. I was a soprano and had a sweet voice, but looking back on it, everybody that I know now says, like, it sounds like you're really holding back. So when I joined this band, it really challenged me to bring my voice from a different area of my body. Like, it's more from my diaphragm, and then hitting those classic Vince Neil screams. I didn't even know I could do that until I was in the band. And it takes a lot, and it takes me a while to warm up, but I have to say, right now, I don't really warm up or do any, I don't have any rituals or do anything except maybe drink tea, and then I really feel like Jack Daniels is the thing that clears my voice out. I've got the biggest grin on my face right now because nobody believes it. Like, is that iced tea? Come on. Of course not.
You know, I got to commend you on that. That's pretty impressive to hear that you've really never had any formal training, and to hit some of Vince's notes. I'm just thinking Live Wire or Shout at the Devil, and I'm like, he gets up there.
Man, Shout at the Devil, I have to say, it's probably the hardest one to hit. It's a real, and Motley Crue tribute bands that are all guys. I don't know how a guy sings these. I don't know how Vince does it. I don't know how anybody. I mean, I'm a girl, and it's hard for me. It's impressive. Vince has a very impressive range.
He does. I'm even amazed, even on some of the newer stuff, some of the levels he can hit. He's talented. They're all very talented.
Even when he does his classic, like, like, he's not even singing the lyrics, or you know, he's hitting every other word, but that's okay because it is hard. And he's like running all over the place. He's so high energy. He's such a cool guy.
What can the fans expect from Girls in 2014? And are there any special events coming up? Any other projects on tap for you ladies?
2014, what's happening? We have a lot of things going on. We're getting pretty booked up for summer and even into I think we're even talking into October. We're going to be in Minneapolis and Chicago. In Minneapolis, we're playing a festival. We're going to be opening for Great White. We're usually just because we're already on the East Coast, we do a lot of shows in the tri-state area, Pennsylvania and New York and Ohio. We've been doing a lot of Ohio shows. By the way, Cleveland rocks. Played the Magic Bag there a couple of months ago, and it was one of our greatest shows ever. I love Cleveland. That was my first time. Let's see, what else do we have going on?
Do you plan on maybe adding some more of their newest stuff, if possible?
We would like to do Saints of Los Angeles again. We've been tempted to do the song Sex. We're so good at sex anyway. Why do we have to do the song? It's just, we're so busy, literally, we all have day jobs, and we know about 30 Motley Crue songs. We usually, when we travel, we do either a 1.5 hour set, a 2 hour set, or 2 1 hour sets, and that's a lot of material, and we would like to introduce more songs into our repertoire. I believe that's French. But we do what works for us. We do what we like, and it seems like the dirty, gritty stuff, the old school stuff is what people don't get to hear. When, like, if we have a crowd full of Motley Crue fans, they want to hear what we're playing. If they want to see Motley Crue do their new stuff, they go see Motley Crue. In 2015, that might be different. In fact, Nikki Sixx mentioned, I think on a radio show recently, that he's not a big fan of Motley Crue tribute band because, you know, he's like, he kind of wants us to back off on their final year of touring. We've heard a little bit differently from Vince Neil's camp, and I can't talk about that right now, but there might be something extremely exciting going on that may possibly be endorsed by Vince Neil himself, but I can't talk about that.
It's something to look forward to. I can't wait, to be honest with you, because I'm already dying to know what's going to happen after they're done. Hopefully, Girls will continue to tour, play their hits, bring a lot of their older stuff to people who possibly have not heard it or even seen it live.
That's what we do. I think that's why we don't do that on purpose. We don't do anything. We don't really make plans of what we're going to do next or how we're going to shock people. It just is. It's kind of like raising a baby. You know, that we're just letting this thing go on its own. We're not the owners of it. We are the parents. We'll guide it and do the best we can with what we've got to work with. But it's kind of its own entity. I mean, it's not me. I sing, but I can't do it without Connie Lee and Mercedes Mars and Lucky Six. It's like it's amazing. I have to, without trying to sound cocky or anything.
It probably is. From a couple of the videos I've seen, you know, I haven't had the chance, unfortunately, to see you live. After talking to you and seeing a couple of your videos, I'm actually very interested in catching one of your shows. Not to compare, but just to see how you put your own spin on it. I want to take the time right now to say thank you, Vixen Neil, for calling in here on the G-Spot today. I want to thank NewEnglandConcertReviews.com. I wish the other members, and I wish Girls all the best. I'm definitely going to get out and see a live show.
When is that going to happen?
Hopefully very, very soon. As you said, you're going to be up here in the New England area during the summer, hoping maybe in New Hampshire or Rhode Island or even in Connecticut or here in Mass.
There's talk that if all goes well, Chop Shop tomorrow, we might have a return date in the very near future for a very exciting event.
I'll keep an eye on you and see what happens. I definitely want to check you out. Looking forward to it. You've got me intrigued now.
Thank you.
I definitely want to check out one of your shows.
Well, for any of your listeners, you can find us on Facebook, Girls NYC, on Twitter at GGGNYC, or if you're really lazy, you can just Google Girls NYC, and we're the first thing that comes up.
That's what I did. So listen to the lady, everybody. I did the same exact thing, and the first that popped.
Google you.
I've never been Googled before.
Yeah, how do you know?
That's true, I don't. Listen, I want to thank you again, Vixen Neil. I appreciate it. Again, I wish you the best. I wish the band the best. You know, keep on rocking.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Same here. And you have a good one.
All right, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was the lead singer, Vixen Neil, for the all-female fronted Motley Crue tribute band, Girls. A very interesting conversation. Great time talking with her about the band, Motley Crue themselves, and I'm definitely going to check out a show. Go check them out on Facebook. Give them a like. Right now, we're going to get back to some music here on WSUR. This is Mad Life, to live and die in Hollywood.